I'm Dean West. I'm head of wholesale at Pretty Green, and I've been part of the company since the beginning. I suppose Pretty Green, if it has a philosophy, would be that everybody works all week, and at weekends you want to be a rock star, and we want to take musical influences and British street culture influences and bring them through as clothing that's pertinent to modern life. We've been here today for the launch of Richard Waite's book, Mod, From Bebop to Britpop, and we did a Q&A with an invited audience. What makes a lot of the Pretty Green collection quintessentially mod is the fact that we use styles that have been part of that culture through the history of fashion, and we take them and we try and translate them into a modern feel. So a basic Harrington, or a PK polo shirt, or a Parker. We just mix and mash up a lot of the ideas, but it seems to work. We have an authenticity that runs through it that people seem to love. Yeah.
I'm Richard Waite. I'm an author and broadcaster. I write books and make documentaries about British pop culture since the 50s, and my new book's called Mod, From Bebop to Britpop, Britain's biggest youth movement. And it's about music, fashion, design, architecture, all the ways that Britain's first youth culture put together the best of America and the best of Europe and bits of the Caribbean and made something uniquely British out of it. The rebellious aspect of the mod movement was partly that male mods took a lot of care of their hair, grooming, as well as their clothes. The whole unisex hair salons, the multi-million pound grooming business all comes out of what we later call metrosexuals, but the idea of men, straight as well as gay, taking care of their appearance and being smart in body as well as mind, and they challenged those old ideas of what it was to be a man. The other thing that was rebellious about them was that the mod women dressed with the short bob haircut, the A-line dresses, getting away from that very 50s look, and that was for a new generation of women who were being more mobile, getting educations and careers, and those dresses and those haircuts were about moving around more easily. The other thing that was rebellious about mods was that they were really the first British youth to engage with black culture. So Caribbean style had an influence on the mods as well. Black music as well, black music from America, soul and rhythm and blues and modern jazz. The mods got their name from the fact that they loved modern jazz. The first heroes were not Pete Townsend but John Coltrane. Mod style embraces lots of different musical genres, but if you look at other youth cultures, like, say, heavy metal style is very associated, whether you like it or not, but it's very associated with heavy metal music, whereas mod style transcends musical genres, and so it embraces a lot of different people. It doesn't say, if you dress like this, you have to listen to this music. And the best mods that I know personally and professionally, and like the guys at Pretty Green, the best mods are the ones who don't fit themselves into a musical pigeonhole, but take from that classic style and do something of their own with it. So mod embraces a lot of different people. The collaboration with Pretty Green was a natural marriage, really, because my book isn't just another book on the 1960s. It looks at how Britain's first youth culture, the music, the style, the design, has been carried forward into lots of other youth cultures, from glam rock to skinhead to Britpop. And one of the things I've always loved about Pretty Green is the way that they riff on classic mod style of the 1960s. Not just the early 60s, but the later 60s, and it moved into psychedelia. They like their Paisley here at Pretty Green, and I like that too. And so they riff on the classic mod style, but they're not stuck in the 60s. They're developing it for young people today, for a contemporary audience. And my book is all about how the 60s style has had an influence on other youth cultures and how it has an influence on young Brits today. So both what I'm doing with the book, what Pretty Green have been doing with their wonderful clothes, it was a natural alliance. The March of the Mods collection is a classic example of what Pretty Green are doing. They've taken here, for example, a classic mod jacket of the 60s, but it's got this wonderful kind of modern kind of, satin sort of finish. Here we've got the Harrington jacket, which was the favourite casual jacket of the mods in the early 60s. And conventionally, the Harrington has got the collar is a tartan lining, and they've got that nice contrast with the white and the blue. The polo shirt as well was a favourite of the early mods. But again, they're doing different things with the materials and with the colours, so it gives it that nice, it's taking a classic and giving it that contemporary feel. The legacy of mod is the way that European men, particularly, and European women to some extent, dress today compared to North Americans. It's a sharper, but also a more colourful and expressive way of dressing. And I think that's what appeals to British and more generally Western European youth today. It's one of the ways of identifying yourself as British or European.